Drive Safe campaign, which is brought to you by Joe Neeson Multimedia Group, is supported by Toyota Superior Quality and Imperial General Assurance Solid Protection. Please avoid all distractions. Keep both eyes on the road and hands on the steering wheel. Please drive safe.
Let's learn how to say it right. Brought to us by Kingdom Books. At Kingdom, quality and affordability are their hallmarks.
Something must be done.
You say either. I say.
I heard the strangest word yesterday. Genuine. What does that even mean? I think he was trying to say genuine. 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 Which means authentic. Truly what it is said to be. It can also mean real or sincere when used to describe a person. Genuine comes from the Latin word genu. Now get this. Genu means knee. It refers to an ancient Roman custom where a father would place a child on his knee to acknowledge paternity. This later morphed into genuineness, which means natural or proper. Soon the word genus emerged, which was used to describe birth or pedigree, and that's where we get the word genes from. That's why the word genuflect is also used to describe the act of going down on one knee. So now you know how to genuinely say it right.
Right, so let's get into our news review brought to us by Enterprise Insurance Woodie Motor Promotion. Enterprise, your advantage. But before we get into the papers, let's bring you a wrap of what transpired on Saturday on Newsfile, where they talked about the Constitution review.
The discussion took off with former MP Inus Afuseni opting for a review and pointing to some specific changes.
The Electoral Commission shall be appointed by the President on the advice of the Public Services Commission with the prior approval of Parliament by a 2/3 majority.
Governance analyst Professor Bafua Jimandua focused on how legislators are voted into office.
By introducing proportional representation, a system where parties gain seats in Parliament in proportion to the number of votes that they obtain in election.
Former PPP presidential candidate Bridget Jugbeluku called for election of metropolitan, municipal and district chief executives.
Returning power to the people for all Ghanaians to directly elect their district's municipal and metropolitan chiefs without any interference of their operations from the president.
Activist Oliver Baka-Vomawo took aim at the constitution itself, calling for a new one.
We cannot view this call for a new constitution as some pet project where we assemble a few lawyers and friends of the Article 71 class to go and write somewhere. Give us back the Ghana that our fathers and mothers yearned for. Give us back the pride of belief in the possibility that Ghana is the greatest country in the whole world.
But private legal practitioner Isanan Ankuma believes even a perfect constitution can be abused if citizens are not vigilant.
How have we been faithful to this document that we once changed? If we have not been able to protect it, whatever we do, we will not protect it. It will just be another nice written piece of paper.
So I was actually following the discussions. I listened to Yusuf Husseini make the point about, the appointment of EC, the laws be changed and everything, because you see, and that's where the other school of thought comes in, that our operationalization of the Constitution has become problematic. Hence, a need to actually tie some knots, because people are taking advantage of it. Ordinarily, you wouldn't expect people to take advantage of it that way, but we're taking advantage of it and ask the question, do they not qualify? So I listened to him. I think he makes a very great point. But then the question, Mame Mensah Bonsu asks the question, so who appoints the Public Services Commission? It's appointed by the President. He says, but this will be subject to parliamentary approval. So then after, the nominations and everything are done, then it goes into Parliament for 2/3 majority, for instance. I don't know. I don't know if it's going to work, but if we're able to do that, I think it will be okay.
The problem is that the elephant in the room is that we have indecent people making indecent appointments. That's the most important part. If the people that we have entrusted with power were decent enough to know that this person I'm appointing is supposed to be with or without this qualification, and is supposed to be of this nature and type, and I'm now appointing the person for my parochial personnel or my party's interest, it is very easy to let some of these provisions stay. The only difficulty here is that we have elevated partisanship to the level that every single thing is seen in those lenses. If like check, I mean, see, even who becomes a pastor where, how long they stay, what they say, virtually every part of our lives have been permeated by extreme partisanship, which is hurting us at every level. But we are just seeking to skirt around the issue with, oh, well, it's easy, and it's true. So beyond the easy, how about the NCC? How about the institutions that, even though partisan leaders appointed people into those places, we could, in the likes of there was an NCC, but for a very long time, Larry Bimi, believe that these are men of honor, these are men who have their own mind, who will not be pandering to government direction and be their representatives. So it is perhaps that's what we should be considering. How is it possible that we are basically being thrown into partisanship to the extent that everybody, anywhere appointed, believes their first and prime responsibility is to serve party first and not the nation first?
So today we're talking about Rwanda, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that they are developmental oriented. For me, anything that will get us to that point. I know people will argue that the kind of democracy that we're practicing is not exactly what they are practicing, but can we get somewhere close?
I have said to that point, let's be fair, that you can have a conversation about how useful conferences are, and it's not only Rwandans that have been discussing this. Dr. Tahiru has made a point before that he stopped attending NDC conferences because he doesn't get the point. They don't discuss policy again. No. It's all about election. Let's just move it on and get the election done. And he does not feel fascinated by it. So at some point, it's not very far from us. It's something that it appears that happened in this country before. So why are we not sticking to those ones? Because we have been so much engulfed in the process. The goals of democracy and whichever governance structure is to lead to development. If it's not getting there, we should question that process.
We'll come to that later on. Let's get into the papers. Raymond,
anyway,
which ones do you
let me start
I think I like the back page of the Daily Graphic.
Oh, since you have okay, let me do Daily Graphic first.
Are we doing the Sports Center on the news review?
Hey,
from you. Dry bones.
Yes. Free SHS policy. It must focus on skills development. Professor Suman. There's another one. Parliament passes 3 revenue bills, and BPA Bui Sugar Limited set up 1D1F sugar factory. I hope it's not the area that the chief says they don't want sugar factory. Yeah, but ad guarantor system. MPs against sole use of Ghana card for voter registration. Political analysts, smaller parties agree. That's on the front page. That's the biggest story. Ad guarantor system. That's the biggest story. But I'm going to the back page where I've been so instructed to pursue. Razak's brace Wednesday for Olympics. And so Olympics against Bechem United, right? Yeah, Bechem Chelsea rather. And Kumi rescues points for Kotoku Royals. There's another one. Okay, so the scoreboard is here.
That's what you wanted him to.
Yeah, that's what I wanted him to.
Yes, that's the one I wanted. The scoreboard is here. Please, there's a very important one. Dreams FC. Not so popular team.
Who says?
Please, align.
That's a very strong team.
Dreams FC has to focus. Is it 1-1?
Dreams FC is on the league table at number 12.
Yeah.
Very popular indeed. It's no, it's not 1-1. It's 0-0.
0-0.
What's he talking about? Hello.
No, check the Kotoko.
What is he telling us?
No, Kotoko versus RTU. There's a late kickoff. Yes.
Kotoko won.
Yes. Yeah, but that's what the scoreboard. I'm just quoting what's here.
Sorry,
for you
am
to
so
see.
I think you're confusing us right now.
No,
we're not confusing anybody.
You said Dreams FC was performed very well.
We just drew your attention.
I'm not saying they are performing. I said they are a very strong side.
Yes, and a strong side that is number 12.
About what has position on the league table?
Oh, House of Oak. It's languishing somewhere, but clearly.
You can't even see.
Oh, yes. House of Oak is
I do the
somewhere around number 4, but yeah, clearly.
You know what is mediocre about this whole
I thought
thing.
we were moving on.
Kotoko are not performing well.
Now Kotoko is not performing well.
I mean, it's the same.
But we won yesterday. No, but we won yesterday.
Yeah, but you lost the last time. Like,
No, but we won. Oh, that's the point.
Oh, we won the last time too.
No, we are talking about yesterday. We are not talking about the last time. Present tense.
Can you move on to your paper, because what you are saying is not in the paper?
Let's do the Daily Guide newspaper.
Uh-huh.
The point is that we're not 100% in good shape. Just as Kotoko. I don't know what the big deal
Why
is.
can you talk about your performance without mentioning Kotoko?
NPP decides on presidential race. I thought you were going to tell us about Chelsea sacking the coach.
Oh no, I mean I'm
That's
not.
not. Wait, this is.
I'm not interested in Harry Potter.
All right, here's what's on the front page of the Daily Guide. NPP decides on presidential race. I did mention some high-level meeting today. It's going to decide on the dates for the election of the flag bearer and parliamentary candidates for the party. Health Service revokes Okobing's award, and Axim cops caught in Galamsey drama. A police officer seen on his knees begging Galamsey boys who accused him of extortion. Over the weekend, we saw the police issue a statement on the arrest of these alleged illegal miners, but also the statement saying that they are investigating the issue of alleged bribery. And people have said, why is the police investigating itself in this matter? Maybe another agency should take that up. Well, NLA staff busted over fraud. I'll pay constituency workers under my leadership, says Dr. Kwabena Dufour when he becomes is it president or when he's flag bearer? So when he's flag bearer, he'll pay them. If he doesn't become president.
Well, the challenge, what he says, but the challenge is where the parties would get their money from. So, if the EC were publishing the parties' accounts, we will know how much dues they collect, for instance, donations. We would know all of these things. And then we'll be able to interrogate whether or not the parties can pay, these workers or these party officers, as they've always been talking about. You hear flag bearer aspirants talking about our pay parties. How much dues do the parties get every month? Political parties in Ghana. You've heard John Mahama make the point that he will help the NDC, he will help fund the NDC, So if you hear individuals promising to fund political parties, doesn't that in any way tell you the challenges that the political parties are going through?
Absolutely.
There's a reason when they find themselves in power, they're able to do all the things. But when they are in opposition, then they are struggling. And there's a reason people have said, I heard an astute businessman say one day that, look, for him, he always wants power to change after every 8 years. Because it's the same thing. These people come and do theirs. The others will go into opposition, go and suffer, come back and come and enrich themselves. But I say, can't we as a people decide that if you're doing very well, and if we were very nationalistic in our dealings, it wouldn't matter which political party is in power and for how long the political party is in power. All of us would be better off. Unfortunately, a political party comes into office and would want to, make life difficult for its opponents, so they just don't get the money to run the next election and get into power.
As if they are not part of Ghana.
Yeah.
And again, I always say, the ultimate goal of the entire political space and the governance we are running is development for the people. If the people are not seeing that level of development, the entire conversation, whichever path we take to it, is completely useless. It's almost like a charade of a sort. We are not reaching the goal. That is where our focus should be.
Yep.
See, and sometimes when I hear internal party breaking, I'm saying they are losing the plot. The most important part, whether you're funding or not funding, should not be the most important thought here. The most important one is reaching the goal, get development for the people.
Funding political parties. There's a big question marks. We always talk about where do they get their funding from. We can't trace the source of funding exactly, and now we're promising to pay constituency workers with what kind of money?
Yeah.
Well, on the back page, we know they were lost the bouts. Just as Richard Comey. What's happening? Are we no longer on top of boxing?
Well, Dogbe has been struggling.
Naho. Hey, Aho.
Naho he's been struggling for some time now. Height's not doing him a lot of justice, and he seems to be going that way with these Mexicans or, this,
he says he wasn't aggressive enough.
He should stop talking. Every day Dogbe has something to say when he loses a bout.
Oh, but,
Why?
But that's from his perspective. He can explain himself.
The point is that this guy was not that tall. Manny Pacquiao. But when Manny Pacquiao gets close to you, my guy, before you can move away, you've taken some 4 or 5 punches. And that's what made him very unique. But even with Manny Pacquiao, those who were very tactical prevented him from getting close. And once you're able to prevent him from getting close, you win. But if he gets close to you, he's very quick. You get some 4 or 5 punches before you can even say jack. So Manny Pacquiao always found a way. And if you watch Pacquiao and Mayweather's fight, Mayweather was running in the ring. He didn't want to get so close to him, so he goes around and stretches and gives him a punch.
Is Pacquiao still boxing? He was doing politics recently.
He's still there, but he
came back.
I think he boxed last year.
Okay.
Anyway, let me get to the chronicle. So Isaac Dogbe, yes, he's lost. This is his 3rd loss.
Not a very bad record.
Not a very bad record, but the 3 losses have been in less than about 4 years, so it's bad when you consider it that way. Ordinarily, if they were in a space of say 10 years, you can say, that's okay, or 7 years. But this one, Charlie, Navarrete back to back.
No.
Anyway, let's get to the chronicle for this morning. Proverbs chapter 26, verse 11. Like a dog that returns to its vomit, a fool does the same foolish thing again and again. This is the chronicle for this morning. Parliament shoots down EC's proposal is the first one. Collins Dowda goes unopposed. Court orders Yao Ano to pay some $2.6 million damages to VAG, and we're told that damages in city equivalent of $2.6 million with interest dating back to 2010 has been awarded against the former chief executive of the National Health Insurance Authority, Dr. Samuel Yano, whom we're told he and his company, Anon Associates, are to pay the damages for a breach of contract with the Veteran Association of Ghana. Now, the big one here says minority failed to scupper IMF deal. All 3 revenue bills passed. We're having this conversation on state of play. But this time around, I think they got all their 136 members. But when it was becoming obvious that they were going to lose because 137 just after had showed up in Parliament, some of their members left.
Strategically.
No, I think when they want to do something, so they wanted to approve the ministers. That's what they wanted to do as individual MPs, and that's what they did. Because when it came to this one, you saw all of them vote against it.
Now there's no secret ballot in Parliament again. No. Now if you do small, people will say, show your face. No, there's massive mistrust.
I was really surprised, really surprised that both sides, the majority side decided to approve these taxes. I mean, the times are really hard. Most of the salaries haven't gone up. Meanwhile, the value of what we are taking has drastically reduced.
Inflation
and we're paying a lot more. I mean, we're already dying, right? And so what are you squeezing out of us?
And unlike
what can we give again?
In previous times where the replacement law on growth and sustainability was supposed to be limited to a few or some industries, this time around it's spread across. So even multimedia cannot be spared paying that growth and sustainability.
Yes, it's spread across. Everybody must pay.
Everybody is being asked to pay now. Well, anyway, now the Finder is reporting this morning. Methodist Church, this is a very interesting headline. Methodist Church welcomes former Boys Brigade member Baumia with joy. That's the headline. I've not added a single word to it.
BMW.
Yeah.
Former Boys Brigade
member.
Hey,
with joy.
What politics can do.
So they didn't welcome the vice president.
Alhaji Baumia.
Former Boys Brigade.
Yes. If you didn't know, if you're not sure, if you had any doubt about
so he didn't visit.
If you don't read the headline properly and don't see the picture, you may never think it's the vice president you're talking about.
No, so he didn't visit them as a vice president, apparently.
No, former Boys Brigade member. He's joining his own. There's one, Superintendent Ifya Tenge leaves police service to head Parliament Public Affairs. That's on the front page of the Finder too. And the last header about the IMF deal is bilateral Eurobond creditors agreement. And that's what's being reported by the Finder this morning.
All right, it's a good time for us to go online. Our online news review is brought to you by Zenith Bank in your best interest and Goil, good energy.
And Goil, your oil marketing company of choice, keeps making life so convenient for you. Goil now accepts Momo for all fuel purchases. Just remember to Momo it at Goil, and that's not all. You can also use your bank card. That is all bank cards to buy fuel at Goil. So drive to the nearest Goil station now, buy your fuel, and pay by a Momo bank card or Goil Go card. Visit Goil social media platforms: Facebook, Goil.official, Instagram, Goil_GH, and on Twitter, Goil_official for more information on the service stations you can conveniently use. Momo, Goil, good energy, Goil.
Yeah, dear man. If you're looking for a bank that understands you and puts your financial needs first, then you should be looking at Zenith Bank as your bank of choice, and they have products tailored for you. Whether you are young, old, an entrepreneur, a student, a salaried worker, corporate entity, an SME, a pensioner, a parent, a Ghanaian resident abroad, or a foreigner resident in Ghana, at Zenith Bank, everyone can bank with us. Join the Zenith family today for an unrivaled banking experience. Talk to us on 0302 680-884 or 0307 086 370, or email us at info@zenithbank.com.gh. Zenith Bank, in your best interests.
And myjoyline.com, ECG owes Bui Power Authority $612 million. You'd find Isaac Dogbe loses WBO featherweight title fight, and MPs must not be appointed ministers. Let's go for the BBC News now, and it's brought to us by